to another video. I hope that everyone is doing well. I know it has been a while since my last video. I have honestly been holding this video off for a while now. It has taken me a long time to finally sit down and do my voiceover for this, which I've actually had a lot of these drawings done for like weeks, but I've just been very lazy and I've been very busy and I haven't gotten around to actually talking about what I'm drawing. So here we are now. Again, I hope everyone is doing well. I know it's been a while. I usually, so this is not the first time I've done something like this. I've noticed it's been like every other year, which I knew that I originally wanted to get this done in January. It is now almost April, so I'm a little bit behind, but I've been wanting to do this again where I draw a whole bunch of portraits of my favorite characters. This is the third time I'm doing this. I kind of want to do like sketchbook tours of my last two times I did this, which I think the last one I did was in 2024, and then I think the first time I did it was like either 2022 or 2023. I don't remember. But I thought, why not do it again? A lot of the time, the reason why I want to do this is because it's actually a really good practice for drawing faces and getting back into the groove, because I love drawing faces. It's my favorite thing to do when it comes to drawing, and it will probably forever be my favorite thing to do when I draw. And so, but sometimes, even though I literally draw faces all the time and it's the thing I do the most, I still get rusty and I still will mess up. And every once in a while, I like to do things like this where I force myself to draw a whole bunch of heads or faces to get back in again to the groove, like I just said, and to get comfortable again. And it's just a good way to practice and like remind myself. And drawing a whole bunch right after another really helps me and like helps me fix like my mistakes. And just I would really recommend doing it, or I would even recommend doing other like face challenges. Like I know there's like the 100, I think it's called the 100 heads challenge or something, and you don't even have to do 100. Like even just drawing like if you like, it's a really great way to practice. So if you find yourself struggling with drawing different people, which by the way, now that this one's over, I realize I talk too much, and this first one I was drawing was Klaus from the Umbrella Academy. I want to like name all the characters so that people know who these people are. But I'm actually, when I was working on that one, I like really didn't like how it was turning out during the process, but the final product, it ended up actually becoming one of like my favorite, or like one of my favorites of all the one I did. So I love that we really started strong and it's all gonna go downhill from here. So I love that for me, No, I'm just joking. I'm actually really happy with how a lot of these turned out. And again, I really went into this and I really wanted to take my time with these because I really wanted to just again like really study the facial features of all the characters I was drawing. Also, another thing that I made sure to is all the people I'm drawing are like real people. I didn't do any like animated characters because again, I wanted to draw like all real people so I could get like fully accurate facial anatomy. Is that even the word? I don't know. I wanted to make sure though that I was like practicing from like real life, because I didn't want to do like animated characters where like like eyes and stuff might be bigger than they actually are, or like any crazy like stylistic stuff. I really wanted to try to draw people that were real so I could practice better that way. But yeah, out of all like drawing challenges that there are, I generally think the 100 heads challenge is one of the best like drawing challenges. Like I've said this before, but I really do think it's, or even again, you don't even have to do the 100 heads challenge. Even if you just draw again a whole bunch of faces, like if you just go through and do one after another, like I really do think it's one of the best ways to like practice and just really like studying. I feel like there's very specific features too on people that really makes them stand out, because I think the biggest like thing I wanted to take away from this was making sure that I get like, I wanted it to actually obviously look like the person I was drawing, and I also wanted to try though to get faster and also figure out a way to draw these where I was get the base of the drawing the same way every time. I don't know if anything that I'm saying is making sense. I'm like all over the place right now in my head. I wanted to try to make sure that I could get like faster though as I went on, and I wanted it to become easier as I went, and I think it did. this is only the first part of this video, by the way. I'm still gonna do another, I think 12. Yeah, I'm gonna do 24 in total. So this is the first 12 I did. So yeah, also I'm sorry for kind of the lengthy video. I really wanted to get this video like under 30, and I think I got it like right at 30. So yeah. Recently I've been like really trying to get my videos shorter than they've been. I feel like a lot of my videos end up a little bit too long than how I want them to be. And I'm really trying to like start getting my videos to be like at least 20 minutes or less. Like, and this one already is over it, so I guess it doesn't even matter. But yeah, I feel like a lot of my videos have just been like a little bit too long, so I'm trying to fix that because I feel like listening to me sit here and like I cannot imagine anyone like listening to me for that long, because I get exhausted of myself. Like, I don't want to be, I literally lose my voice. Like, you can hear it already. I don't talk this much usually. And it's a lot, and I just don't think anyone wants that. I think something interesting too, a lot of these characters I actually have drawn before. And like the one I'm working on right now, which is Shiv from Succession, played by Sarah Snook, she has like such, one of the things, again, as I was saying before, the main thing I was trying to figure out too is how to get very specific features to make it look like them. And I think I noticed in a lot of these characters, one of the biggest, like, I feel like ways to like really get the likeness of a person is, this is kind of weird, but I feel like it's in their nose and in like their facial shape, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like there's a lot of things like the eye shape too. Like, her specifically, Sarah Snook, if you look at her, she has very, very distinct eyes. Like, I don't even know how to describe them. And in the past, I've drawn her and I haven't, like, I've struggled because she has such like distinct eyes that I feel like if you just get her eyes at least right, it's like 10 times more, like, you're gonna get her accurately a lot more than if you don't, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like if I messed up a lot of her other facial features, but I got her eyes right, I think that would have been like a bigger tell for me to get her likeness. And I feel like you can find that in a lot of different people's faces. Like, if you can at least get down like one of their facial features that is like the most like telling part of their face, that is the most noticeable, especially if someone has like a specific facial feature that is very unique. If you can get that down, I feel like it really does like instantly help with the likeness of a person. Again, I'm so sorry for like how all over I am with like trying to explain these things. I'm terrible at explaining things. Like, I feel like what I'm saying is not making sense. I also kind of struggled with her character too, like drawing it, because a lot of the other characters I was drawing have really dark hair. And she was a lot harder because she has like a reddish blonde. She has like red hair. It's almost like strawberry blonde. I don't even know what color it is. It's like lighter though hairstyle than a lot of the other characters I'm drawing. And so I had a hard time with her because I was really trying to make the contrast look interesting, because if you have someone that has lighter skin and lighter hair, it's kind of hard. It's hard to get the contrast there. And I mean, some people just have like lower contrast, but I wanted it to be interesting to look at. And I'm also like, I didn't want to fully shade in her hair, so I ended up adding more detail to her hair, and like I ended up adding a lot more individual strands in it. Also, like the way her hair looked in the picture I was referencing, it also like was kind of like half like pulled back in an interesting way, so it also helped make it look more interesting, because with all the other characters, if they have dark hair, a lot of them I'm just fully like coloring it in. There are some characters where I add more strands, but a lot of them I just fully like would just color it in black, like what I did with Roman, the one before her, who is also from Succession. These next two that I'm doing, I feel like might actually be a little bit more niche. I don't know. I'm doing the Phantom and Christine from Phantom of the Opera, specifically the 25th anniversary version. Okay, this is very important to me. I know a lot of people. I feel like Phantom of the Opera is obviously known, especially if you like musicals. It's like one of the most known musicals of all time. And I also feel like most people know it too because I know there's a movie. But I am really annoying when it comes to musicals, and I'm very specific when it comes to musicals, especially when it comes to like specific musical soundtracks. I usually have a specific version that I prefer to everything else. And maybe I don't know if I'm gonna get heat for this, I don't know. I personally believe that the 25th anniversary is the best version of Phantom of the Opera. There's also a recording of it that you can watch. I don't know if it's on YouTube. It used to be on YouTube. It goes on YouTube like every once in a while on the one channel. I think it's like there's like a channel that shows like recordings of different musicals. I don't remember which one it is, but there's a very specific version of Phantom from the 25th anniversary with Ramin Kremlu. I hope I said his name right, and Sierra Boggess, and they are my favorite. Phantom and Christine. I don't think anyone's hit the same. I love their voices. I love their chemistry. I love this version of the show. It's my favorite thing. I love it very much. It means a lot to me, and I really wanted to draw them. I actually haven't drawn the Phantom. I think I've definitely drawn him before, but like I haven't drawn him in a while. And so this was an interesting challenge too because I mean he's wearing a hat, which I struggled with for a while too. But also he also is wearing a mask, and so that was also a little bit harder to try to and I went a little bit crazier with the shading on this one. With a lot of these I didn't do too much shading because that wasn't my main goal. My main goal in a lot of these was just getting the facial features right and in the right place and getting their likeness. But I added a little bit more crazy shading on this one because I really wanted to get a lot more contrast on his face because it was a lot more shadowed. These two are interesting too because the photos I was referencing are obviously on a stage and the lighting is also a lot different, and I feel like the lighting is a lot more intense than a lot of the other photos I was using as reference for a lot of the other characters. And so I feel like with that having that too really made for a more interesting challenge and more harsh lighting on their faces and more harsh like shadows and things too. And also again, like I said with the mask, it's a different texture and it's also a different way to light things. And also like his eye that's being covered by the mask, I mostly just ended up shading fully because you can barely even see it in the actual picture anyway. And so that was also like a really fun challenge that I didn't even realize I was going to end up giving myself, but I did. Also, something I did with all these to make it a little bit easier on myself when I was shading them, because I was only doing black and white, I made all the reference photos I was using, I ended up changing them to black and white photos so that it was also a little bit easier to follow the areas I really wanted to get really dark, especially again, as I said, for contrast, which was a big thing I really wanted to try to aim for. And a lot of these I wanted to have like pretty good high contrast, and so I really would push the pencil in a lot of the areas on a lot of these drawings because I wanted it to look a lot more visually interesting, and it really makes your eye draw to something when there's a lot more of a contrast with the lights and the darks. So that was another thing I tried to push a lot. This one too that I did of Christine is also one of my favorites. The more I look at it, the more I don't really like how her face turned out because I see now more of the mistakes in it. I think I made her eyes a little bit too far apart, and I think I messed up her face a little bit. But I'm so happy with how her hair turned on this one. Like the hair ended up a lot more detailed than I meant for it. And a lot of these too, I ended up kind of just wigging the hair. Like I didn't fully draw in every single little strand. I kind of did it while I was coloring it in. But I got like the outline, which is also, I think, actually something that's really important to get a likeness of a person, is getting like the silhouette of them and getting their like hair outline right. Because I actually do think that's something that really makes a character stand out also, in a way that usually you don't expect, but I find really does like make someone look very specific and really makes them look different from other people and characters. But yeah, no, this one, I'm just so happy with how her hair turned out. And something I did find out while I was working in this paper, which I have no idea where I got this sketchbook, by the way, it was given to me. It's not like the best paper ever. It's really only meant for, I would say, sketching. But I found that whenever I was drawing on the right side of the page, the drawings turned out a lot better, and I feel like the pencil ran across the paper a lot more smoothly than it did on the left side, and you can really see it in a lot of this, like the really like heavily shaded in areas, because the pencil would lay it down a lot darker, I found. And again, it was a lot more smooth, and I feel like I drew better on the pages where I was drawing on the left side. So yeah. Also, I ended up kind of like the colors kind of would bleed through, and like you could kind of see through the side of the pages because they aren't very thick. So that also kind of happened, which I don't even care. Like, I was like, whatever. I was like, I didn't like spray these or anything either, which I could have because I have like a protective coating, but I was using a colored pencil, so I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I don't really care. And yeah, I just love how her hair turned out on this one, and I had so much fun drawing it too and coloring it, because I love drawing curly hair and like really wavy hair, but especially like the really curly. I love drawing it, and if I'm ever drawing like a little like original character, I usually am giving them curly hair, because it's just, especially dark curly hair, I love coloring it and drawing it. It's so fun. And like, she even had like the really like distinct ringlets too, which I'm not usually as good at drawing. So I kind of tried to incorporate a little bit of it too, which I had no clue what I was doing when I was doing this, by the way. I was just kind of trying to follow like the way the light was hitting it to get shadows and stuff to make it look like a ringlet, to like kind of make it look like an illusion. Um, and I did a lot of like the little wispy hairs that I always include, and also I did a lot of like the very like twirly, which her hair didn't look like that quite as much as I made it, but I love doing that, so I kind of had added a little bit of creative liberties to this one to give it to her character. And yeah, I loved coloring it, and it was so fun, and I'm so happy with how her hair turned out. It was so um fun to do. And this actually too, like the way that the hair turned out kind of reminded me of, there is a art book um of Brave called the art I think it's called just called The Art of Brave, which I have a whole bunch of concept art books because I'm obsessed with them. And there's one of Brave, and I love that one because there's a whole bunch of like pencil sketches in it that are like extremely detailed pencil sketches that are just gorgeous, and that I've always been very inspired by, and that I love to look at. And this kind of reminds me of that a little bit. I mean, obviously not nearly as good as those ones look, but yeah. Also, just like coloring too, like her. I love drawing. Like, it's so fun to color into and color like makeup on people and characters, and like I love like adding details around characters' eyes and like shading around characters' eyes, especially if they have makeup on. It's just another like, it's so satisfying to draw. I also love drawing like eye bags and like the shadows under eyes. Like, oh, it's so fun to draw. I love it. I've always loved like, yeah, drawing around the eye. I always tend to struggle more with like pupils and like the actual iris itself to like make it look right. Um and it's like, I feel like actually drawing like the actual eye is pretty hard, because sometimes you can almost kind of fall into like uncanny valley with it, where it almost looks like if you add like too much like highlights, it will almost look a little bit like, I don't know, it just looks too like perfect. But then if you don't add any highlights, sometimes it makes the eyes look dead. So it's like, I always find like a hard time to like draw the eyes, because the eyes are like, you know how they always say like the eyes are the windows to the soul or whatever. But it's true. Like, I feel like if you mess up someone's eyes, it really does kind of like, it can hurt the entire drawing if you don't get them right, because it's like one of the things that your eye goes to is the eyes. So like, that can be kind of hard, and it's something that I struggle with quite a bit. Oh, another thing that also I think really adds to the likeness of a person is eyebrows. And also eyebrows really, really help with also drawing like expression and emotion, which that is another thing I need practice with. Which I also honestly didn't really take on with these heads and faces. I didn't really try to do crazy emotions, because I kind of want to just go back to the basics of just getting like the facial features in the right place again. So that is another thing that you can always practice too if you want to draw a whole bunch of faces, is do like faces from different angles, but also crazy facial expressions. That also, like, I think is extremely important, because I also tend to, if I'm drawing something, I tend to usually go with a pretty plain face. These next two that I'm doing are of Matt Murdock and Buggy from One Piece, and Matt Murdock from Daredevil, obviously. Um, these two are funny because the Matt Murdock one, I actually, is probably one of my least favorite ones I did, which is unfortunate because I really like Daredevil. And also, I've literally drawn Matt Murdock multiple times before, and yet for some reason, this one even the sketch, it was not turning out right, and so I'm not really surprised that the final version, I just didn't like how it turned out. I don't know, again, it was also, again, as I was saying before, on the left side of the page, and again, a lot of the sketches on that one just were not turning out as good, so I think that might have been part of it too. Um, but yeah, I just think the angle was just weird, and I think I messed up his nose too, which is part of the reason why it looks so off. And also just like the glasses too were off, so yeah, the whole one was kind of not great. But the Buggy one, I'm actually really happy with how the buggy one turned out, which was surprising too because it's also kind of a weird angle, and also because he's doing like a full crazy big smile, which is also kind of difficult for me a lot of the time. But I'm really happy with how his like teeth turned out, which usually if you're drawing a smile that has teeth, that can also be kind of difficult because teeth can look like really weird sometimes if you like overly make them like really obvious. So I kind of like have found a way to like make them like kind of simplify them to make it look not as weird. And I kind of gave him like a little bit more like sharp, kind of shark like teeth. I also just think this one also stands out because of all like the clown makeup and stuff. It makes them look a lot more interesting. So I feel like that also helped. And again, I love drawing clowns and stuff because their makeup, as I was saying before, on their eyes and stuff is just so fun to draw. And I love doing like the details and stuff. And yeah, this is another one that I'm like really happy with. I do think the bandana, the one this one looks a little off and weird. Like the stripes and stuff don't match because I kind of was getting lazy with it and I wasn't following it very well. But that wasn't really the part of it that I was really interested in like being super specific with because I was more focusing on the face. So yeah, but I'm really proud with this one too. These next two that I'm doing are of Duncan Egg from The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is a more recent show that came out, and also this is my first time drawing these characters. Also sorry about like the bad lighting right here. I don't know why it looks so yellow. It will go back to normal again after the next one. But this one was also hard because Egg is like a child, obviously, and I also don't draw kids a lot. And this was also difficult because like kids' features, like their eyes and stuff usually look quite big, and their faces are usually a lot more round. And I actually had to like redraw his face a couple of times because it kept on looking, he looked like too old. I think I was drawing his face like too long. And so I had to like reposition his chin and everything. Also, it was hard to draw him because he's bald, and I don't draw a lot of bald characters too. And I think I messed up like the sides of his head too because it looks a little like not right. So yeah, this one I'm not like the biggest fan of this one. I do think it looks like him. Like I'm really happy with how the eyes turned out. But yeah, this one though it was probably like the fastest one I did because he doesn't have hair, and so obviously that made it like way faster than all the other ones. So that was nice. But yeah, this one was kind of difficult, and it looks a little weird. I do think it looks like him though. Like again, I think the eyes really helped it. But yeah, this one I like struggled with quite a bit. And the dunk one that I did, I actually am really happy with. I think I did his face, like I drew it too small on the page on accident, but I really like his, like I was really finding myself though, like really getting into the groove of drawing these because I remember I like drew both of these like really fast, and I was able to sketch them out really fast, and I was like having a lot of fun coloring them. And I had a lot of fun coloring Dunk's hair too because he has like also more of a short hairstyle, but it was also just like really fun to like shade. And I was really playing with like the pencil and like playing with the way I was shading it. Um, and yeah, and I just really liked drawing like Dunk's facial features, and like his face shape was just like really fun to draw. And yeah, I liked drawing both of these a lot. And again, like especially because it was my first time drawing both of them, I feel like I really got their likeness, and I'm really happy with how both of these ended up turning out in the end. The next two I ended up doing are Arthur and Charles from Red Dead Redemption 2. So fun fact, I have drawn Arthur Morgan a lot because he is one of my like, I know these are all my favorite characters, but Arthur Morgan is like my favorite video game character of all time. Red Dead 2 is my favorite video game. I love Arthur Morgan. I love that character. I've drawn him quite a bit. I have never drawn this man the way I like. Like I can't draw him. I don't know what it is about his face. Something about like it's specifically like I think it's just his face shape. I like can't draw him. I can't do it. I've drawn like I've tried multiple times. I've tried digital, done traditional. I just every time I draw him, it just always turns out wrong. And I just could not. I could not get it right, and it was, and kind of felt it as I was drawing this one too. And again, this one isn't terrible, but it still just does not look like him. Like, I think I got the face shape wrong. I don't know. I can't do it. I can't draw him. Also, I was struggling on this one too because I also gave him a hat, which I kind of regret, but it's also, I gave him a hat though too because I also find his freaking hair to, I cannot draw this man's hair either. Like, I just can't draw him. I can't draw him. I don't know. Something about his face, it's just like, no, for me. It doesn't compute in my brain. And so, yeah, this one also did not turn out the way I wanted it to. I also feel like the way I drew his facial hair was kind of weird. And just, yeah, this one also was just like not it. Again, it's not like the worst I've ever drawn him, but it also just didn't turn out how I wanted to, which is unfortunate. But you know what? I always can try again in the future. You know, I can always try again. So here's to the next time. However, though, this one I'm actually really happy with. I actually don't know if I have drawn Charles before. I've definitely drawn Charles before, but I haven't drawn him as much. And this one, funnily enough, ended up turning out so much better than the Arthur one. Like, I really like how this one turned out. I think I did mess up his his face shape a little bit, but this one too. I think the reason why I really like how this one turned out also is because he also has long dark hair, and I feel like all the characters that I drew with longer hair ended up becoming my favorites because I don't know, I just really went like really detailed with all the long hair, and so like I just also really like how long hair turned out in this one too. Like the way that not the brush strokes, oh my gosh, the way that like the pencil was hitting the paper, it was just right, and it was just, I don't know, like the detail of it, I was just really having fun with it, and I ended up putting a lot more effort in the ones that had longer hair. And so I think that also was part of it. But this one I also just had so much fun. Again, just shading in the hair was just so much fun. I loved, yeah, and I really also, like, again, this was another one where as I was working on it, I didn't like how it was turning out. But once I was, like, finished, and the more I look at it, the more I really like how this one turned out also. Um, yeah, I just really like how, like, his eyes turned out too. And I kind of struggled a little bit too because he has, like, scars on his eyebrow and on his face. And I kind of messed up a little bit with them because I didn't really know how to get them, like, to make them show up more. So, and I ended up actually kind of covering up the one that is on his eyebrow on accident because I wasn't paying attention. So I kind of messed that a little bit up. But I'm still really happy with how this one turned out. And again, I was having so much fun coloring in the hair. And he also has very long, wavy hair. And yeah, I'm realizing, yeah, again, more that all the characters, like Klaus, Christine, and this one, all the characters that had like really long, dark hair are the ones that ended up becoming my favorite because I don't know, I was able to add a lot of detail, and the pencil is just, I don't know, it looks really good on the paper. So this is another one that I really had a lot of fun with doing too. And then the final one that I ended up doing was of Father Paul from Midnight Mass, which is a fantastic mini series that I would highly recommend if you like horror with religious themes. It's very great, and I love it very much. He is also a character I've drawn quite a bit. I actually haven't drawn him in a while, though. And also, I don't know if I've ever actually drawn him, like, traditionally. I've only ever, I think, drawn him digitally. Because I remember when I watched the show for the first time, I, like, just got Procreate for the very first time. And so I was, like, obsessively drawing him over and over and over again. But yeah, this one, too, I was kind of struggling a little bit because I was kind of struggling a little bit with his, like, face shape and his hair, but I also am quite happy with how this one turned out as well. I had a lot of fun drawing him, and yeah, I hope that everyone enjoyed this video. I know it was a long one. Thank you so much for bearing with me as I blabber on forever. And yeah, I'm gonna have a part 2 of this where I do a whole bunch more. So this isn't the last of me. I don't know when that video is gonna come out. Probably not anytime soon. But if you're still here, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys again. Bye.